Welcome back to Irish Wrestle Talk, and we like to break down stories, legacies, controversies, look at all back through the ages of wrestling and so on, some of the biggest names and then some. And today we're diving into one of the most explosive, enigmatic and polarizing figures in WWE history. A man who in his heyday was the embodiment of raw intensity, wild energy and ultimate power. He was the Ultimate Warrior. And from his iconic sprint to the ring, shaking the ropes in a frenzy, to his meteoric rise and controversial exit, the Ultimate Warrior's career was as intense as his persona. But his legacy goes far beyond just the surface theatrics. So lace up your boots, shake those ropes, and let's get into the heart of one of wrestling's most unforgettable characters. The Ultimate Warrior wasn't just a wrestler, he was a force of nature. Debuting in WWE in 1987, Warrior quickly made a name for himself with his unmatched energy, his colourful face paint and hyper-muscular physique. And his entrance alone, sprinting full speed to the ring, shaking the ropes as if possessed, was enough to make fans lose their minds. And Warrior wasn't just any other wrestler. He was an absolute phenomenon. And just 2 short years in wrestling in WWE, he went from mid-card to main event, capturing the Intercontinental Championship along the way. And his reign as Intercontinental Champion was a highlight of the late 1980s, setting the stage for something even bigger, a showdown with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania VI in 1990. And this is where Warrior's legacy was solidified. On April 1st, 1990, in front of over 67,000 fans in Toronto's Sky Dome, the Warrior achieved the unthinkable. He did what no one else had done. He defeated Hulk Hogan cleanly in the middle of the ring. And the match was a battle for the WWE Championship. It was a symbolic passing of the torch. Hogan, the golden boy of wrestling, and Warrior, the young, unpredictable powerhouse, collided in what was billed as the ultimate challenge. And Warrior walked out of that ring as both the WWE Champion and the Intercontinental Champion, a moment etched in wrestling history forever. And that victory was monumental. It signified the height of Warrior's career when his popularity soared to its peak, and he became a hero to millions of fans, embodying this almost supernatural, superhero-like figure who couldn't be stopped. And in many ways, that moment defined the Ultimate Warrior's place among wrestling royalty. But as many know, the Ultimate Warrior's career was far from smooth. His time at the top was tumultuous. And behind the scenes, Warrior clashed with Vince McMahon and other wrestlers, often accused of being difficult to work with and having an inflated ego. Now, these tensions boiled over in 1991 when he abruptly left WWE after demanding more money before SummerSlam, leading to his suspension. And although he made several returns to the ring, the stops and starts marred his legacy, and his star had dimmed by the mid-1990s as fans and the WWE locker room grew frustrated with Warrior's erratic behaviour, and his wrestling ability and in-ring psychology were often criticised, as some felt his matches lacked the depth and storytelling that others like Hogan or Savage brought to the ring. However, when we look at Warrior's legacy, it's clear that it's more complex than just his in-ring work. Yes, he was explosive, sometimes controversial, but he also left a huge mark on the world of professional wrestling. Despite his critics, the Warrior's influence on the wrestling business is just there to be seen. He became a pop culture icon of the 80s and 90s wrestling boom. He was larger than life, an action figure come to life, and to kids everywhere, he was the embodiment of what it meant to be a hero. And in the years after his career ended, the relationship between Warrior and WWE was strained. But time, as they say, heals all wounds. And in 2014, Warrior was finally inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, an emotional moment that brought his story full circle. Tragically though, just days after his Hall of Fame induction and a memorable heartfelt speech on Monday Night Raw after Mania, the Ultimate Warrior passed away. His final words were eerily prophetic, speaking of how every man's heart will stop beating someday, but that it's the memory of their spirit that lives on forever. And Warrior's passing was a moment of shock and sadness, but it also immortalized his legacy in a way no one could have predicted. Today, Warrior is remembered for the immense impact he had on fans and his unforgettable character and the inspiration he provided to millions with his message of self-belief and inner strength. So thanks for joining me once again to take a look at one of these iconic wrestlers from our past. And if you like this, then please like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, and we'll talk to you again soon. And remember, take care and keep grappling with greatness.